so I wanted to go outside before I started recording this song that I'm working on with my homie. And I was like, it was sunny at first. Like, as you see, it's like it's golden out still. You know what I mean? But all this rain. And like, it really got me like going into the perspective, like, especially with the song that I'm about to be singing. Because like, life has always been very rainy. Not because like there aren't any pieces of sunlight or rays of sunlight. In my past, like I was used to it being rainy with the sunlight being more so something I had to really seek out rather than really see. You know what I mean? In the sense that it was more breadcrumbs of sunlight in comparison to waterfalls of rainfall. And in that, like, I really learned to appreciate presence and I learned to appreciate absence. At the same time, to see the beauty in the rain. You know what I mean? Like, just because it's dark, it's gloomy out, doesn't make it a bad thing. You wouldn't appreciate the sun without the moon. You wouldn't appreciate the light without the dark. You wouldn't. I remember 50 Cent. He had said that shit in a song before. He said sunny days wouldn't be the same if it wasn't for rain, for real, because like we don't really understand the value that is in our lives or like what we really appreciate sometimes through its presence, but sometimes we learn things through its absence, and we learn value from the contrast between the two. You know what I'm saying? With the song, I'm kind of coming from a perspective of like those times where like overcoming the times where I was so scared and like everything was paralyzing me almost, you know what I mean? Where I wasn't taking action and like at the same time see like not being able to see a light in the dark other than the breadcrumbs of it. And the perspective I'm kind of coming from is like the understanding now that like, you know, I understand being scared of what's to come and like what's ahead. But at the same time, the fact that life just isn't really fair, you know what I mean? And that shit just happens, bro. Like things just happen and it sucks. And it just be what it be, you know what I mean? And like there's so much that's just out of our control. And really the only things that be in our control is really just like ourselves and how we handle, you know? But that doesn't make life and what happens around us any easier. But it's to say that life never really changes, but our perspective on life changes. Our perception surrounding the perspective we have on life changes. You see what I'm saying? But life itself doesn't change. Life is always gonna give you like the ups. It's always gonna give you the downs. It's always gonna give you some bullshit in your face. And then this, like I was doing so good at work earlier, bro. I was literally enjoying myself working on my projects. I was working on specifically my community and getting some things detailed and figured through before I make it live. Well, this community really. That's crazy to say, bro. It's crazy to say. I was working on the details for it and the structure, and like in the meantime, let me see if it's still recording. All right, we're good. And I was working on the details and the structure. Oh my gosh, I'm a big texture guy. I just stepped in like a little bit of mud. I don't like textures like that at all. And I'm wearing some white forces that are kind of busted, but still, I don't like that. And what was I gonna say? Anyway, I was working on the community, and then all of a sudden, like, I get like back-to-back clients that like really test my patience, and not because like it was just because it was strenuous tasks, and like I just had to do a lot of hard stuff for no reason at all, and like I just happened to get the ones that was like needing help with like super long processes, and so when that occurs, I was just kind of like someone's passing me right now, so it made me like halt my speech. When that started occurring, it made me really like, what the fuck? What the fuck? You see what I'm saying? And like, that's just like a little form of it, but it's to say like the same things will always happen. Like things that will trigger certain emotions will continue to happen within the matrix of your reality, right? And it's just a matter of learning the perspective in order to learn how to embrace that and make a situation that you want out of the situations that you get. You know what I mean? We don't get to choose a lot of this stuff, but we do get to choose our response. We get to choose if we're going to react or respond. You know what I mean? Never forget that you have free will and the value of that, bro, and what's possible, bro. When I'm saying that you're the creator of your reality, I don't want to say that to be like hooba hoodoo. You know what I mean? But I'm literally saying it because, bro, like I was houseless going between the states, between like North Carolina, South Carolina, after being in college, thinking like